So words were important. Words were always really important in my family. And it's just something I wanted to share. My name is Heather Walker Peterson, and I work at the Colson Center for Christian Worldview, and I am the senior editor, and I also get to do some of the writing. Growing up, I was a major reader. I was always surrounded by books. I loved the influence books had on me, so I loved writing as well. When I went to Northwestern, I took drama literature, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I realized with the English major that not only could I still look at the idea of writing, but I could do all this reading too. Some different things at Northwestern, I would say, brought me to where I am today. I read the book Beowulf, and I was fascinated by it because I wanted to know how Christians could engage with the culture and how God's word influenced Christians, and why sometimes Christians didn't act like Christians even though they had God's word. So that started stirring something way back then, this book from the 10th century. After I graduated, I started working in the Alpha Center, which was the Learning and Writing Center at Northwestern. And then I had the summers off and I could go work on my master's degree because I was convinced I was going to become a Bible translator. And they hired me as an adjunct to teach. And I found out that I loved teaching as well as writing. And that was really exciting. And what I'm most passionate about with my writing is I want people to be encouraged that they are participating in the ongoing story of the gospel. They're participating in what God is doing right now. And that makes their lives fully alive, that God isn't distant, but that He is with them right now. And I really believe that right now we're living in a time that it's so similar in some ways to the early church, and that Christians have to have courage. And that's what I wanted to do when I came to the Colson Center, is to help equip people to know that they can be courageous, they can speak out, and that even though it's hard and painful, they're actually going to meet God sometimes in those challenges. I want people to know that they can be a part of the restoration of culture. And actually, God calls you to flourish, and actually, in your own spheres of influence, you help to restore people to Him. It doesn't matter what you do. You can be a baker, you can be a scientist, you can be a writer, but you are helping to restore our culture and others to Him. When I think about what I want people to remember, and again, how God has worked in me with students and with an audience I write with, is when I see them really, really struggle with something, whether it's ideas, whether it's emotions, whether it's relationships, that God meets them in it. And even though it doesn't look like it at the time, we're part of a meaningful story that God is telling. Because that's what Northwestern did for me, right? Northwestern gave me a faith that I could live confidently. So I left Northwestern, I would say, with a well-integrated faith. And that's definitely something I want to share with others.